What's been the reception on this book from?
Well, it officially comes out tomorrow,
Yep.
but I did send advance copies to Belichick and Kraft and the rest up there. I have not heard any word from the Patriots on it, so I don't know what they feel about it. But I do know people who've read the manuscript and advance copies, and the reaction I got for the most part was, I like Bill more after reading it than I did before. So I tried to make it a humanizing portrait of the man and show that side of him that he never shows in public. But it's not easy to humanize someone who doesn't want to be humanized in public. And by interviewing hundreds of people, I tried to do that, and I guess the reader will decide whether or not I succeeded.
So what's the answer to the question, why does Belichick not want to be humanized in public like most humans would probably want?
Yeah, right. Most celebrities, they want to show their best side in public and hide their worst side in private. Belichick does the reverse of that. I don't know. But I think it's all about, he sets that organizational tone with every press conference, and that is, it revolves around the idea of give them nothing more than is absolutely necessary. We are in the business of collecting information, not sharing it. And by setting that tone, he wants the players to see that and act accordingly in the locker room when they're asked questions by the media. Give nothing away. He is the greatest net taker of information of all time, and that involves every conversation about football he's ever had with anybody. He wants to walk away with more than he gives. So I think it's more about that than anything else. But in talking to some of his friends who didn't want to be named, some of them do wish that he would show some humanity at the podium, because away from the facility, Bill can be charming, he's engaging, he can be funny, he's a lot of things, generous, that the average football fan outside of New England, around the country, would not believe.
No, I mean, because I have been on the receiving end of that generosity, Ian. I was calling, doing the action, calling the action, however you want to put it, play-by-play of the Combine this year, talking about, how my 40-yard dash in my suit running for St. Jude Children's, research. And all of a sudden, over my left shoulder comes an arm slapping a personal check on my notes, and I looked up over my left shoulder, and there was a smiling Bill Belichick at me. I'm not going to say how much it was, but it was absurdly generous. A personal check from Stephen Belichick. And, it was, from Bill Belichick, and it was something else, Ian. Why doesn't he want that sort of stuff out there, do you think?
And I was watching when that happened, by the way. And, the other thing is that people say he hates the media. He doesn't hate the media. I know he respects you, and he respects a number of people in the profession. He sends holiday cards to certain people. And, again, I think it goes back to when I'm at work, I'm work Bill, and I have no interest in the public knowing that I'm actually a pretty damn good human being away from the office. My only mission when I'm on site is to help my team win football games, and I really don't care what you think of work Bill. My friends know human Bill away from Patriot Place, and that's good enough for me. So I guess there's a certain honor in that, because I've been talking to friends who are like, well, I'd love to tell you all these great stories, positive stories and anecdotes about Bill, but I'm afraid he's going to get mad at me. And I say, well, if you don't tell those stories, they're never going to get out there. Don't you want him to be seen as completely human? And so it's a fascinating question, and I think it all comes back to he doesn't think that helps him win football games, so at work he's not going to do it.
Ian O'Connor, the author of Belichick, senior writer at ESPN.com, here on The Rich Eisen Show. So you spoke to over 300 people for this book?
I did.
None of them Belichick?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, did people who spoke to you giving voice to Belichick's personality and life and behind the scenes, did they check with Belichick before speaking to you, do you think?
Some did, I think, and some didn't. I think some were comfortable enough in their own skin to just talk. But I do know Bill reached out to some people through either directly or using an intermediary and asked some people not to share stories about his life. And that could be personal. I don't know how he feels about me. I infamously wrote a column in 2000 saying it was a bad hire, and I don't know if that had anything to do with it. It might just be that if he doesn't have control of a project, he doesn't want to lend his credibility to it. And frankly, Rich, he doesn't owe me anything. I realize that. I signed up for the challenge of doing this, and so I worked around it as best I could, and the way to do that is to talk to 350 people. And so that's what I did, and I think I wrote the definitive portrait of him, and I'll let others be the judge of whether or not that indeed was the case.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.